Hey, I'm here. I'm live. Great. Take it away, Ben. Hey, I'm here. I'm live. Hey, I'm here. I'm live. Oh, right. What's the second echo coming from? Take it away, Ben. Oh, it's coming from the channel page. Hey, I'm here. I'm live. Oh, I just shot that. Hey, guys. How you all doing? How's things? Hello, Simon Tucker. Hello, DJ B2. How you doing? And hello, Body Technician. I've got something I want to play for you. I'll probably get away with this without copyright, but hello, Michael Snow. How are you doing? Just while waiting for the troops to gather, I will just play something I think is quite amusing. I'll probably just play the audio. Where is it? There we go. It'll be in my history one. Okay. This is funny. I'll play it's actually just an audio track, so it should be all right. I hate Keir Starmer. This is Alexei Sale. He's well funny. This guy's so funny. Here we go. Not that one. Where's that? Where's the one I showed earlier? Because I want to play. I want to get copyright. Hang on. Here we go. Here it is. This is the one. This is just audio only, so it should be all right.
I hate Keir Starmer. I hate Keir Starmer. I hate him aesthetically. I hate his fussy little, too perfect, just shy of Nazi officer haircut. I hate his Prime Minister from Central casting face, which initially seemed designed by committee, but increasingly suffers from having an expression slapped on it like he's desperately trying to explain away his role in a sex scandal at the dog pound he runs. I hate his pedantic voice, which makes everything he says sound like an HR meeting you didn't really need to be at. Starmer is a small man, physically short, yes, but that's not really notable, except as a symbol of the immense spiritual shortness that it signifies. He is aesthetically petty and dull, a piece of hotel art made man. I hate Keir Starmer. I hate him ethically. I hate the way that Starmer poses as an honest man, then casually breaks every pledge he made to the Labour membership before they elected him as leader. I hate that he's a liar and he's not even good at it. Plainly, what he is good at is being a coward. I hate Keir Starmer because what we all need is the possibility of actually doing something, concrete action that might actually make the world a better place, and Keir Starmer is a fat big block in this possibility. I hate Keir Starmer like a malfunctioning bus stop sign that keeps telling me my bus is about to show up, but it never does. I hate Keir Starmer because he has been imposed on me, whether I like it or not, and he will not go away. The only time he looked like winning an election was when he was up against Liz Truss, a blustering idiot who seems to have gotten lost on the way to filming a series of The Apprentice. And accidentally ended up being appointed Prime Minister. Even if Starmer was replaced, one suspects his wing of the Labour Party would conspire to put Shadow Health Secretary Wes Streeting in charge instead. Someone who looks like Starmer's son, who he made out of margarine.
Oh, wow, that's funny. That's Alexei Sale. Yeah. I used to love his stuff when I was a kid because he used to do TV shows when he was a kid. He's still going now. This is really, really cool. Hang on, I'll just put my glasses on. Yeah, that's your new Prime Minister, guys. Anyway, I'm going to say hello to everyone. Hello, we have here. We also have, along with the people I greeted earlier, we have Neil Attenbury, Rhiannon Raven, Tor Engen, Seth Aaron Fletcher, Green Tea, greetings from the US. You got your own election coming up. But you haven't, oh, by the way, you having fireworks Thursday? It is your Independence Day, ironically, or we're putting a cross on a piece of paper to vote for someone we hate, so someone we hate even more doesn't end up getting into power. Good evening, E.T. Good evening, Ben. Do you regret voting Conservatives? Who are you voting for this time? I will answer all those questions as we go along. Well, I can answer the first one now. Do I regret voting for Boris Johnson? Oh, God, well, seeing as what he turned into, yes. I mean, Caroline Stevens did warn me, didn't she? Alexei Sale, blast from the past. He's still going. He's still going. Ben, aren't you watching the football? What's happening in the football? Oh, what's happening? Oh my God, so I'm going to have to cancel. That's it. I'm going to have to cancel the live stream. Just kidding. But am I clashing with the football again? Oh dear. Let's have a look. Well, you could play. You'd say you could play me in one ear and the BBC Sport. Let's have a look. Football. Everything stops for football in this world. Ask live. Euro Turkey lead Austria. Oh my God. In end-to-end, right? So they're not like it's not like the Eurovision Song Contest then, right? Okay, guys. So who else we got here? Hello, Phuket. Hello, John. Got a new motor. Hello, Torengen. For a politician, you need to have a hard skin to hold up a spineless body. Well, you know their skin is sort of green and scaly, isn't it? DJ. Luckily, my mum's passport has run out, so she can't vote Conservative. Hello, Hugo. How are you doing? Heartless Romantic. Hello, how are you? From Los Angeles. How do you do? I was near you the other day. Did you go to Contact in the Desert? I might have met you. Hey, Tajinder Gill. How are you doing, sir? How do you do? Tina. Another blonde. How are you? Hello, Pat Riot. How are you? And we have here David Brown, 69 Phuket. DJ Vito, I've already said reform possibly not voting here. All right, well, I'll talk about reform because they don't have a candidate where I am. Elections are a farce, says Michael Snow. Yeah, a lot of. There were several comments in the show notice. I've actually saved them. It's only Turkey and Austria. Yeah, where are they? Well, Austria's turning into quite an interesting country, isn't it? Diego Vera, have you ever thought about creating a UFO political party? Well, there is a disclosure party in the United States. They got one. I think several countries have them. Seth, Aaron Fletcher. I'm ambivalent on who to vote for Thursday. To be honest, I am a bit. I mean, I'll go through it anyway. I'll go through how I feel. Green Tea says the fireworks started on Friday. They sell some whoppers now in some states. A few rattle the windows. Yeah, like in Paul, that great film Paul. You know that they have that great one. Huge firework they have to set off where the Devil's Tower. And we have here. Rhiannon says to Diego Rivera. That's a good idea. He could call it the disclosure party. Yes, Rhiannon. I mean, maybe there is a disclosure party somewhere. I mean, not in this country, but there are some in other countries. Neil, hello, Neil. Neil Peel, the Paranormal Peep Show. I hate Big Pharma. Sorry, Keir Starmer. Yeah, I'm sure we could adapt that poem if Alexi doesn't mind. Hello, Popcorn Boxing. How are you? Hello, Snarnock. The disclosure party sounds promising. Yeah. Popcorn Boxing. Is Nigel Farage still your favourite politician? No, he's never been my favourite politician. What do you mean? Just let him get on with it. I ain't voting. Don't give a toss. Spliffs in the tin. Of course, Hugo. Yes. Austria's most notable export, a Charlie Chaplin impersonator named A-Word. Yes, of course. That's a very misunderstood and maligned artist. Yeah. David Curtin. Oh, he's good. Yeah. I prefer him to Farage. I met. Well, of course, he's been in my videos twice, hasn't he? He's been in two of my videos, David Curtin. Firstly, the March for Life, and secondly, the Oxford Freedom one. Hello, Mark One. How do you do? We'd have to call it Disclosure UK. Yeah, I mean, this is probably the only political party I could ever be a member of or run for office in, because I've got way too much baggage to be in any others. AKA DUK. Duck. In Austria, they have the beer party. Oh, they'd have my vote. They got a base party called the FPO, which is like it's a pattern across the continent. Actually, the FPO have made enormous gains. David Splendid Isolation. How do you do? For the government of a lifetime, reform. Well, that's that Total Recall. Yeah. No voting here, says Hugo. Right, you are, mate. Yeah. So Hugo, I don't know specifically how far your polling station is, but you probably have to postal vote, and they're losing all the postal votes. There's been a big scandal about it, and I knew that would happen, Hugo. I knew it would bloody happen. Hello, Pat Riot. I'm saving the 56 pence it will cost in fuel to get to the polling station. I'll buy 2 tins of Aldi baked beans instead. Snarnock, is Andrew Bridgen your favourite politician? Yeah, I think he might be, actually. I mean, I really like him. I think he's great. I mean, I think he's great, Andrew Bridgen. I mean, if they were all like him, I mean, we'd have no problem, would we? The Groove Dodger says, the party, make life in UK one big party. Yeah, that's a good idea. Popcorn Boxing says, I couldn't give a damn about these elections. The Jews control the party. I know what you're saying, and I don't agree. Thanks for disguising the word so I don't get done for hate speech. You know, I don't agree with you, Popcorn Boxing, and I've done an entire video about that, which ironically was banned for hate speech. David Icke for Prime Minister, yay! If he ever becomes Prime Minister, two things will have happened. Either he's been corrupted, or that's it for the New World Order, you know. The flag could be riddled with a duck in it and a UFO flying above. Yay! Yes. There's a new party in the US called We the People Party. I'd like to see Neil Oliver as Prime Minister. Yeah, me too. David Icke or Neil Oliver would be perfect. Nihilist, I'm voting Reform twice just to be sure. Oh, well, you know, you have to show ID now, Nihilist. You don't get away with that now. I mean, I wouldn't try and talk you out of it, seeing as probably that's going to happen on both sides now. Snarnock, did you see the interview in which Starmer was asked if he was loyal to Davos or Westminster? He immediately said Davos. Yeah, I saw that to Snarnock, and it doesn't surprise me at all. Hello, David Brown. Yes, postal votes should be allowed only in emergencies. Obviously, postal votes are essential in some cases for expats, for the seriously disabled. But yeah, definitely. Resistance UK channel have been doing a lot of deep dives, interviews. Yeah, good. I'll check them out. Hello, Stuart. I had no idea it was election time. Well, that's because, as Blackadder said, because you're not eligible to vote. Because nobody is. Lords, chimpanzees. Oh, Mark 1. In Minecraft, mate, in Minecraft. Morrissey's really cool, actually. Morrissey, I could have to swear allegiance to the lizard. Yeah, I don't think he would do that. No, he wouldn't, actually. Yeah, Morrissey. Well, if David Icke is ever Prime Minister, we can safely say Charles the Lizard has gone back to his cave. Now, what was I going to say? Morrissey, very, very switched on guy. You know, Morrissey refused to perform at a concert once. You know why? Because they had mask mandates. Yeah. Popcorn. It is illegal. Yes, it is illegal to vote twice. Yes, you can only vote once. Snarnock. We'll be talking about Marine Le Pen. Yeah. To Jinder Gill, have you heard that immigrants from Commonwealth countries are eligible to vote? Daj, they're making almost everybody eligible to vote. I mean, Starmer will have, if Starmer gets into, one of his plans when he gets in, if he gets away with it, is that 16-year-olds will be able to vote, 16 and 17-year-olds, and EU citizens will be able to vote. I mean, why not Mongolians? Why not New Zealanders? Give Jacinta Ardern the vote in this country. God. Oops. Oh, what? I just did an AJ from an AJ from the Wi-Files there. Right, my chair is back up. Where are we now? Starmer Trilateral Commission. Oh, yeah, he's like Trudeau. He's basically he is a representative for the world government in this country. What's this, Bernie? You and Colin should run the country. Oh, God, blimey. Jeez. Yeah. Nihilist Lives Matter. The Zoomers will save us. I'm optimistic and white-pilled by them. Oh, I hope so, because in Germany, apparently, they're voting for all the anti-globalist parties now, like the Alternative for Germany. They've the Chancellor, what's his name? He gave the 16-year-olds the vote, thinking they'd all vote for the centrists and the commies, and of course they're voting for the opposite. That backfired, didn't it? Mark, I'm not trying to give anyone any ideas, Ben. I'm sure, absolutely not. Hello, Hugh. How are you? All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the comments that were left on the notice. I have some interesting comments on the show notice. Bluebeam said here, another superior feelings moment. Good grief, Ben, why in the hell are you selling your soul to a politician in the first place? All the people in Germany are now pointing the finger now. There is no hope for this world in general, it feels. People are going to lose anyway, no matter what. It's hard when even exopolitics is letting you down. You don't know anymore why you spending your time with it. Well, at least I have seen a few stuff myself, so I can clinging onto desperately. Sorry, Bluebean, you need to work on your spelling, mate. You use no capitalization at all, hardly any punctuation. But even that feels slowly fading away as well. I don't know what to do. All right, well, Bluebeam, firstly, you say I'm selling my soul to a politician. Which one? I don't remember saying I sold my soul to a politician. But you as for the rest of it, what you said here, exopolitics is letting you down. Well, we've covered that, haven't we? Because there's been a lot of disinformation and indeed idiocy in exopolitics, and there's been some in this election which I'll cover. But don't give up. If you say you don't know what to do, well, watch a Panwo TV. I'll try and cheer you up. Rick Horden says, "Is there really much to discuss, Ben? The whole situation is a bit of a joke, no?" There's a lot to discuss, actually. I didn't think there would be until a few weeks ago. I didn't think there would be, but there is. And Blogger526 says, I tend to agree. The only talking point has been Farage's entrance to serve his own interest in getting elected and profit from the Reform Limited as controlling company owner, with all membership fees and party donations going to his bank account. Does he have one? Does he have one now? Or he's got it back? Without scrutiny, transparency, and multiple GoFundMe accounts breaching UK political donation rules, the Reform candidates seem to be just as like-minded to hide their revenue streams. And the lack of vetting of candidates and accusations of racism and misogyny from their own candidates, rather than the establishment media bias. Oh well, I'm going to cover this, Blogger, because that's a load of rubbish, but I'll cover it in later. Farage, who is the same establishment, had claimed now defecting to the Conservatives. The whole situation with reform looks like a proper con to fool the public and split the Conservative vote. So you're talking like Peter Hitchens now. The sad thing is, so many vote without understanding what they're voting for. Reform being the best example in this election. Right. Obviously, I don't agree, and I'll explain why. Diego Rivera says, Monster Raving Looney Party gets my vote. He's dead, isn't he, Lord Such? Screaming Lord Such? I think he's dead. There's another guy called Count Binface. Where's he? Let's see if we can find Count. He's taken over the mantle, Count Binface. Let's have a look. I prefer him to Starmer. Count Binface. Let's have a look. CountBinface.com. Shall we see this? Let's see what this is. He's carried on the mantle of screaming Lord Such. Count Binface, down with fascism, up with CFAX. Read my. This is him. You see, I don't know which. He tends to stand in. He's standing for the constituency of Richmond and Northallerton this particular election. Read my manifesto. All water bosses to take a dip in British rivers to see how they like it. Yeah. National service to be introduced for all former prime ministers. That's the way to make a peaceful world and end all war, isn't it? Wi-Fi on trains that work. Trains that work. The reintroduction of CFAX. Oh, Count Binface, are you really that old? Children need finally to get round to fixing Pudsy's eye. Yes, children. Yeah, the children need bear. Traffic on Northallerton High Street to be fixed by a new space bridge bypassing both level crossings. European countries to be invited to join the UK, creating a new Union of Europe, if you will. Yeah. Wallace and Gromit to be knighted for service to Wensleydale. I pledge to build at least one affordable house. Croissants to be price capped at £1.10 and 99 flakes to cost 99p. National Yorkshire Pudding Day to be a bank holiday, except for banks. Loud snacks to be banned from cinema and theatres. Yeah, bloody hell. Pensions to be double locked, but with a little extra chain on the side. Claudia Winkleman's fringe to be grade 1 listed. A new series of gladiators to feature 90s gladiators against age-appropriate contenders. Minister's pay to be tied to that of a nurse for the next 100 years. Oh, yes. Hey. Shops that play Christmas music before December to be closed down and turned into public libraries. To combat the UK's increasingly wet climate, all British citizens to be offered stilts. A ban on Shakespeare on a ban on speakerphones, Shakespeare. A ban on speakerphones on public transport. Offenders to be forced to live with Matt Hancock for a year. Oh, that's a bit harsh, isn't it? A prison would be better, surely. The mini golf course at Richmond swimming pool to host the Open Championship. MPs to live in the area they wish to serve for 4 years before election to improve local representation. That would, I think, help an awful lot, yes. The hand dryer and the gents' urinals at the Crown and Treaty Uxbridge to be moved to a more sensible position. Count Binface to represent the UK at Eurovision. Hey, definitely. I'm with that. I'm with him on that, definitely. Let's have a look at Jonathan Pye. Hang on, is Jonathan Pye doing anything? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. I won't be able to show this, I don't think, because he's put something up. This is he's done some election specials. I'll get copyright here if I play these. But he's so funny, man. He is so funny. He's done a whole series of them. I'll have to watch those later. Oh, man. Anyway, how are you guys getting on? Hello, Hatchy. How do you do? FMG Football Mad Gamer. I won't be able to go through all your comments, sorry, because I've got too many. Turkey have scored. Oh, right. So much for 0 points. Oh, this isn't the Eurovision Song Contest, is it? Oh, thanks, Mark. Yes. D-Day B2. Europe-wide French-style revolution. I mean, there's only so much I can say on YouTube, but yes, guillotines. A production line, perhaps? Right. Who are we now? Any new people I haven't said hello to? All right, I haven't. Okay, so I'll just check. That is all of the. Yep, that's all the comments that I've done now. I sometimes forget to do them, and I have to preserve them. Snow, do you follow 2CTV? Yes, I like Maya, actually. He's cool. He did. He just got raided, didn't he? Someone swatted him, or there was he had a break-in or something. How do you? Oh, Alan Raven. Pye isn't so funny when he's ranting about how wonderful the EU is. I think he is, Leanon. He's still funny. But I disagree with him. I don't think he's much more left-wing than you and I think. David, hello. Evening, Ben. It's been a while, pal. How are you doing? Which David are you? I know you're not. It's because there's David Splendid Isolation already here. So who are you? Yeah. Which David are you? Because are you the David, the really elusive one? It could be. Snarnock. It'd be interesting to hear what Trevor has to say about Tommy Robertson and the Canadian court case. A great victory against Trudeau. Trevor is taking a little sabbatical at the moment. I'm still in touch with him, and I hope he'll be okay. I hope he will be okay. Will you be doing a live this coming Saturday? If there's something to do one about, yes. Yes, if there is. Hello, Caroline McGreal. How do you do? Welcome. If there's one to do something, if there is something to do one about, I will. I mean, it could be with all the postal votes. It could be we might not have because the results of the election usually appear sometime during the night or the following morning. But but we may not know. We may not know because of all the postal votes. And what's it? Someone said something about the Lib Dems. Oh, Football Mad Gamer. Do you think Lib Dems will get opposition? I think there will be probably a joint Lib Dem reform. What I predict is, I'll say more about the polling and prediction later. I suspect a joint Lib Dem reform opposition, but both will be very small. I think that the Tories will be there too in a very small. There'll be a small number of seats shared around those three parties, I suspect, but I don't know. So yeah, let's have a look at what's going on here. Okay, I'll just let's just go back to screen share. Here we go. Okay, this is the big black cock, which of course you don't expect to be honest. But let's have a look at what it has to say. Let's have a look at the latest. Who should I vote for and what the party's promising? Well, we know exactly what they're going to say. Labour, aren't they? I'm not going to see the live thing. Now, this is interesting. Second candidate defects from Reform UK to Tories. Right. I want to make you aware there's been a lot of deception, a lot of deceit in this particular election. It's been a record. I think it's been the dirtiest election I've ever known, I must say. A Reform UK candidate has suspended her campaign and defected to the Conservatives because the vast majority of her fellow candidates are racist, misogynistic and bigoted. Georgie David, the Reform candidate for West Ham and Beckton, said she'd been frustrated and dismayed by party leaders Nigel Farage's failure to tackle issues with candidates. All right, this person, Geordie David, was a Tory until very recently, then suddenly decided she wanted to be in Reform. She joined Reform literally in the last couple of weeks when they launched their they had a very rushed election campaign, and then suddenly she just decides she decides they're horrible people and racists and misogynists, and so she wants to leave. And you know what? She hasn't made any complaint to Reform leadership. She hasn't made any public statement other than that. She hasn't gone back and she hasn't she doesn't seem to be very angry about the whole thing. Now this news story's been done, she seems to have just disappeared. So my question, ladies and gentlemen, is, and Maya Tusi actually said this on his channel, was she actually ever really a Reform supporter, or was she a Tory plant? Was she actually just put there for just to say, join Reform, say how horrible they are, and then leave? And we're coordinating this with other psychological warfare tactics, and they did. This is a coordinated attack. David Brown, are you going to the Mysterious Earth Conference? Yes, I am. I'm looking forward to that. So there's been others. I mean, this is just one example of the kind of deception that's been going on lately. I came across this video. Where is it? Where's this video? Hang on. I came across this video. Reform dropping in polls after racist canvasser comments and Farage's Ukraine stance. Yes, apparently if in doubt, blame the Russians. It's always the way, isn't it, with propaganda? If in doubt, blame the Russians. I won't play this, but you see I've disliked it. Look at the comments down here. I assure you, support for Reform hasn't dropped. It's been massively understated. And I said it's a push poll. Time spreading the smear without even mentioning that Parker has been completely exposed. Yes. And who's this person they're talking about? His name's Andrew Parker. Right. Andrew Parker is a man who he's another very recent addition. I mean, Reform went through a massive expansion phase just literally in the last few weeks when Nigel Farage suddenly announced he was coming back. I mean, Nigel Farage, he's not exactly consistent, is he? He's the most capricious politician in the entire country. He announced very suddenly he was going to come back and take over the leadership of the party, which, as Bluebeam does correctly point out, is actually a company, not a party. But although it has been listed as a party by the Electoral Commission, they're not breaking any electoral rules. But as soon as it happened, they basically had to launch a massive campaign very quickly. And they took on a lot of people. Now, you could turn up and basically ask, "Can I canvass for you? Can I help you?" And they say, "Yeah." And a lot of people did, and a lot of them were very sincere. A lot of very genuine, sincere people turned up and said, "I want to become a canvasser for the." I'll take my glasses off because you don't get that reflection. A canvasser for reform. I want to basically go around, knock on people's doors, stand in the street and hand out flyers and that sort of thing, right? This bloke, Alan Parker, turned up, sort of brush Cockney bloke. He talks like Ray Winston, like that. You can imagine him in a Guy Ritchie movie, can't you? Right? So he turned up with some other people who kept fiddling with their ties and their lapels because there was a hidden camera in them, right? Turned out these two guys were cameramen for Channel 4 who happened to turn up exactly when Alan Parker did. Right? You ready for it? So not Alan Parker, Andrew Parker. Alan Parker's a film director. What am I talking about? Alan Parker's the guy who said, cinemas are wonderful, you can't, you have to have cinema, not TV. Now, Andrew Parker, he turned up with these two guys from Channel. No one knew where they were just canvassers. Now, the moment the cameras were switched on, in fact, it was actually, they got into a car with some other guys, and the moment that happened, Andrew Parker he starts saying some of the most atrocious insults imaginable to various people, including the Prime Minister, calling him an effing P, right? You know what I mean by effing P? Well, fucking, I can say fucking, but the P word you can't say, right? He said that, immigrants should be shot on the beaches and things like this. He said all kinds of, it was almost like a caricature. And you know what he was doing? Apparently he was trying to get the other people in the car where they were driving along to say something similar, and they wouldn't. I think there were the two other people in the car I think they were aware of what was going on, and they were much more professional. They were much more professional party promoters than he was, than they're supposed to be. So they wouldn't say anything. So all Channel 4 got was basically a picture of Andrew Parker, and they had to publish the stuff that Andrew Parker was saying. Now, it turned out later that Andrew Parker is an actor. Now you might say, what's wrong with an actor being What's wrong with an actor having an opinion? Well, if it turns out he didn't actually have, and maybe he supports reform. Maybe he's an actor who supports reform. And he's not doing anything wrong, is it? Just because he works as an actor, maybe he's got opinions. He wants to support reform. Well, funnily enough, this is the first time he's ever supported reform in his life. He's never supported them before. So why is he suddenly supporting them now? All of a sudden, and what's more, he doesn't talk the way he does when he was with them. In fact, he's got this little video. It's gone now. It's been very quickly removed from the websites he was on. He was a member of Equity, the actors and actresses trade union, which is very sort of woke. They haven't tried to expose him, which is really weird. Equity, you'd think they would expel him amidst a huge amount of publicity, but they haven't. What's more, Hate Not Hope haven't said a word about him. What's more, Mandy.com, which is a database for thespians, he's got a page on there. We had a page on there. It's also just been deleted, where you can see him in the video, and he sort of talks with a slightly, I suppose, an estuary accent, a slightly off-posh kind of like southeast Essex Kentish accent. But he doesn't sound like he does in the video on the Channel 4 documentary. And now this is completely exposed. I mean, Nigel Farage did an interview about this. He's taking legal action now. And Channel 4 saying nothing about it. Even though it turns out that Andrew Parker has been in movies. You go to his IMDb page. That's still there. He's been in movies. He's been on Channel 4 programs, Channel 4 dramas. Yeah, he's not very famous, but he's still like a C-list actor, you know? Anyway, guys, Rhiannon Raven says, yeah, Channel 4 just happened to be following an actor posing as a reform candidate. What are the chances? Exactly. Niall showed that, Snarnock. You saw Niall Murphy's video about that. Niall Murphy's my guest on Thursday on the Hapanmo show on Hapanmo Radio. Yeah, exactly. Well, Rhiannon, exactly. Equity and Hate Not Hope probably support what he did, and they aren't going to expose him. Of course not. He's one of their men. Hello, Tessa. How you doing? Waves to Ben. Hey, Tessa. Nice to see you. So it's pretty obvious that this is a very nasty, underhand attempt to defame Nigel Farage and his party. Now, you can have as far as I'm concerned, right? I wouldn't do that to a party I disagreed with. You may love them, you might hate them, but it's wrong. This is not what you expect in in British politics. This is not the kind of thing you normally expect. It's something you get quite regularly in other countries, but you don't expect it in British politics. I think this shows we've entered into a new era in politics. We in Britain have changed our... We've changed. I think we've changed. There's something that's happened fundamentally in the way we deal with politics. In many, many ways. I mean, I won't be able to go through all of them this evening, but I mean, I think maybe I should come back to it after. But yeah, there's so much that's different. I mean, in many ways, I feel very happy about what's happened because it feels to me like when 2016 happened, you know, I made all those videos about the 2016 effect. Do you remember? All those things about Brexit, about Trump. And then it sort of suddenly went on a hold. Someone hit pause. And that pause lasted 8 bleeding years. And of course, in the middle, we had the backlash, didn't we? I predicted this in 2016, didn't I? I said, oh, and hang on, I'll just answer this. Snarnock says, please get Reeves on third rail. Yeah, I've got to contact him. Yes, I've got to contact Reeves. I said, didn't I, that, my God, they're going to make us pay for this. When Brexit and Trump happened in 2016, I said, my God, they are going to make us pay for this. They really are. There's going to be a massive backlash from the establishment against this. And there was, wasn't it? It happened in 2020, and it was the C word, you know, the disease. Hello, Dave Yorkshire. How you doing? David Yorkshire says Farage is fake opposition, and this is all a stunt to get people invested in a fake rightist again. You know, David, you might be right. I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but you might be right. Supposing, like, this is a question I want to ask, and this came up, if you remember, I don't know how many of you watch Fockham Hall Radio, you know, Eric von Essex. I was on a show last night, and I was on there with Nathan Lucius from the Truth Seekers Teesside, right? And this came up, and we were all saying, what, supposing Farage became Prime Minister, right? What would he do? Would he still be this avuncular kind of cheerful man of the people kind of person who would abolish the TV license fee and all this sort of thing, scrap HS2, all the other things he's promising to do, right? Would he be that person? Or would he do what 1,000 other statesmen have done when they get a taste of power? Become just like the rest of them? Would he change and become just like the rest of them? Now, David, I think he deserves a chance. As I said last night to Eric and Nathan, I think Farage and Reform deserve a chance, but they're only getting one. They're only getting one. I think we have to tread a narrow tightrope in this position between excessive naivety and excessive cynicism. The reason is, like, I mean, of course, my position on cynicism, you know, you get the backslapper phenomenon, people like that. Sometimes they're right, and you might be right. I'm not saying you're a backslapper, David. I don't think you are, but you might be right about this. And sometimes the backslappers are right. But on the other hand, and this is the same goes for like the UFO disclosure thing. Supposing this is a real move against the deep state. Supposing these are the white hats, in which case that's an opportunity we can't afford to miss. If we reject it, then, well, we're in trouble. Now, I say the same. It's the same as the issue with UFOs. For this reason, I would give him a chance, but only one chance. And David said here, yeah, Channel 4 could be found guilty of election interference, a stain on their already sewage-washed character. Yeah, David, possibly. Would anyone even notice another stain? But no, seriously, they could face criminal charges for this. I mean, of course they won't, because they won't, will they? Because they won't face criminal charges because it's people like them never do, because they can break the law whenever they want because they're doing what the government want. Was one of Lawrence Fox's relatives a hitman in The Day of the Jackal? Edward Fox. I don't know if these are related to Edward Fox. The Day of the Jackal is a brilliant movie, by the way. It's a very good movie. Snarnock. The last general election was a second referendum in disguise. It was only about Brexit. Primarily, Snarnock, yes, which is why I voted for Boris Johnson. On reflection, I wouldn't have done so because I didn't know what he was going to turn into. As soon as he was, again, he became Prime Minister. He got Brexit done, but then Bill Gates and Melinda Gates turned up and started whispering sweet nothings in his ear. And then, of course, he along came the backlash, and of course, Boris Johnson, unfortunately, he lacked the intelligence, he lacked the maturity, he lacked the courage, and the sensibility to really handle that very well. As a result, they set him up with the Partygate thing, and that destroyed him. And it's what's really crazy is he was probably saying, I bet you he protested them in private, but look, you all do it. You've all been breaking these rules. Come on. Do you really think Keir Starmer kissed his grandmother through a pane of glass? Do you really think Matt Hancock hugged his own children through one of those ridiculous plastic sheets? Did you think Emmanuel Macron sung Christmas carols on Skype with his cousins? Of course not. They all break their own rules, don't they? They all break their own rules. And so Boris says, but why can't I do it? Well, because why are you singling me out for exposure? Because we don't like you, Boris, and we're going to use this against you. The others we like. They're our kind of people. So we're going to keep their double standards secret. That's why it's as simple as that, you stupid oaf, you blundering fool, Boris. Caroline Stevens did warn me about him, yeah. David Yorkshire says Farage has always said his greatest triumph was destroying the BNP. Yeah, people accuse him of being a racist, but he says that he believes the best thing I ever did was destroying the far right in this country. And the thing is, whatever your opinions on the BNP, what was done to them with the help of various interference, including WikiLeaks, as you rightly pointed out, was beyond the pale. I mean, these people could have been killed. The Maya Tusi's, his house has just been. Someone actually turned up on his front door to attack him. People who speak out against the establishment can get killed. David says, to be fair, Ben, you did predict the bastards would hit back at us after Brexit, and the sea comes around. Yes, exactly, David. Yeah, exactly. DJ B2, I watched that show. Yeah, DJ, I saw you in. That was great, mate. Thank you. I remember that. If Labour then Reform get it both wrong, it's time for myself to make a party. Yes, you could be the next Prime Minister. You could be the football mad gamer party. David Yorkshire. I'll be showing you the real Farage on my channel as soon as I have time. Oh, please do. Yeah, please do, David. I'll be happy to watch that. I welcome all opinions. Taj, if Labour win, they can get rid of Sadiq Khan. They'll get rid of Sad Git Khan when he's no longer useful to them. Yeah. Snarl, do you remember when Farage was debanked last year? Yeah, a lot of people were. There was a phase of about 6 months when everyone was being debanked. It was pretty bad. I mean, there was the worst example, I think, was this young woman. There was a young woman called Laura Towler from Leeds. She was pregnant at the time, and she had her bank account just shut down. They just said, we're closing your account. This is Santander. Here's a check for everything in your account. Get out. They wouldn't tell her why. She couldn't pay her bills. She couldn't do anything. And she took it to the financial ombudsman. But, unfortunately, there's no law against them doing this. Your money's not safe in a bank. It's really not. She was... her crime was to be a member of... a patriotic alternative, some supposed far-right racist party. She's married to Sam Melia, by the way, who's currently in jail for putting up stickers with legal statements on them that are controversial but completely legal. Ben, Farage is a Rothschild banker, millionaire with charisma, handpicked like a knight in shining armor. Handpicked. Well, actually, what if he's one of the good guys? What if he's a white hat? Again, I know David Yorkshire won't agree, and David Yorkshire might be right, but what if he's a white hat? What if this is I say the same about Trump. What if this is a genuine move against the uniparty deep state? What if it is? There's something to think about, isn't it? Is Lawrence Fox related to Edward Fox? And they say he's in an acting family, although I don't think he's going to get an acting role ever. Well, certainly not until there's a lot of changes. Even now, British Democrats are being barred from attending hustings. I mean, they shouldn't be barring people. Even that horrible Femi person, that Ramona who showed up once. Yeah. Boris J had a secret meeting with the governor of the Bank of England when he was PM. Banksters. Well, prime ministers regularly meet with the governor of the Bank of England, but they shouldn't be doing it secretly. Definitely not. Yeah, that's right, Laura. Yeah, Sam Melia. Yeah. Where we got now? I can't answer all your questions. Sorry. I'll tell you what I'll do now. Let's just go and have a look. Go back to the news. We've covered that. That's this nonsense about bloody reform. But it seems to have had some kind of effect. I'll just go through the polls now. This is the polls now. Now bear in mind, there is an enormous margin of error in these polls, and we always find this when the election actually happens. It's never exactly as the polls predict. It's sometimes quite close, but it's never exact. So this is the situation we're in right now. Is that Labour is certainly going to win. They're going to win a lot. They got it's a 40% lead. I mean, that's huge. As you see, their success is mostly at the expense of the Tories, and you can tell because if you look at these two lines, they're virtually mirrors of each other. Bear in mind, like this is the average. The red line and the blue line are averages. Each of these dots is an opinion poll, and they vary enormously. For example, there's one right up here. This puts them like about 60% or something, and there's another one down here at roughly the same time that puts them about 41%. They've now dropped slightly to 40%. Tories Tories, it's a downward plummet. They've gone from at the beginning of 2022, they were right up here, quite close to where Labour are now. Now they're on 21%. 21%. But look at Reform. This is the most interesting aspect. Reform have been steadily rising since last year. And you see the big jump there. You see this bit here where suddenly it leaps up from about 10% to 16%. That was when Nigel came in and said he started doing his magic. However, so what happened is there's been a 1% drop, though. I mean, if you look here, they actually peaked at 17% back on the 22nd of June. And now, they peaked. They were on the 19th of June. They were at 16. They went up to 17, and they've gone back down to 16. The reason for that there's several reasons for that. It could be because of the propaganda we've been seeing, because of the smear campaign that I've just described. And then they're bringing in the Russians now. It's just it's crazy. Now, that's unfortunately some people will believe that, or at least they will say that when asked in the opinion polls, they will say, well, because of that, I'm now not going to vote Reform. When it comes to actually push and shove, when they're in the polling station on Thursday, they may, when they're there and it's a secret ballot and they say whatever they like, they can do whatever they like, they may well vote for Reform even though they said they wouldn't in the opinion polls. What people say in opinion polls and what they do is sometimes very different. The margin of error is huge. So the Tories reached a peak up here, like of I don't know where that is. That's roughly 30% odd. But you see, there are some Tory opinion polls that put them below Reform. There's an overlap between Reform and Tory, which means Reform actually could be ahead of the Tories now. Reform could be leading the Conservatives. The Lib Dems are right down here on 11. Green 6%, SNP 3%, Plaid Cymru down here on 1%. Plaid Cymru are doing very well, of course, in the Senedd, the Welsh government, as you know, because I actually went there. If you remember my trip to the Senedd, but they're not very popular in Westminster. Here we go. This is the where's the Wikipedia page? Oh, this is the Wikipedia page I had open. Right, as you can see, this is the situation as it stands now. it's 344 Tories, 205 Labour. There's SNP 43, Lib Dems 15. This is the Northern Ireland parties. DUP, Sinn Féin, Plaid Cymru, of course, has 3. And that's Northern Ireland as well. Alba is a minor Scottish party. Alba is a spin-off. It's a break. It's a split from the SNP. Green has 1. Alliance. What's that? Oh, that's the Alliance Party of Northern Ireland. Then there's Galloway, of course, and then finally there is Reform. They got one MP. Or Reform have 1 MP already, although that's that I believe is a defection. I can't remember what his name is. And there's the Speaker, Lindsay Hoyle. And no one has to vote for him. Apparently, he's a dictator. If you look at this here, what is his constituency? Because he does have a constituency, and that constituency doesn't have a proper MP because the Speaker's he's not an M. He's a member of Parliament, but he can't do what MPs do. He has to act as the controller of it, doesn't it? Member of Parliament for Chorley. Yeah, Chorley. So what Chorley is a dictatorship. Yeah. How about that? How are you guys getting on in the chat box? Any new members? Anyone turned up? Solo84, how do you do? And David says, votes taken from both Labour and Tory when Nigel announced for the reform with that spike. Oh, if you look at if you look at the polls, it's kind of it's clear that it clears that if you let me go back to screen share. Hang on, there we go. You can see clearly that now this is different. You see, you have a Labour drop from up here. I mean, they were up here on 45%. They've gone down to 40, but that was not mirrored in this case with a rise by the Tories up to meet them. And indeed, actually, since the beginning of 2023, both parties have declined, and it's mostly because of Reform. Because Reform's been steadily rising since the end of 2022. They were sort of ticking along here at about 4%, and suddenly they've been rising ever since. And just the last couple of weeks, they've had this meteoric rise. So I see what you mean, David. Yeah, I don't know. Anyone could see that. Hello, Johnny Fettler. How do you do? Welcome. Yeah. I'll tell you what, man. I'm quite looking forward to Thursday because it's going to be fun. If only to see the Tories squirm, honestly. If only to see those Tories just hang their heads and all those stuck-up, corrupt bastards losing their seats. Oh, I'm going to send everyone. I'm going to send Liz Truss and Matt Hancock and all those. I'm going to send them all application forms for McDonald's. Let them get a proper job for once in their lives. Yeah, I mean, I don't care. I know I'm going to address the you still got to vote Tory thing in a minute, but I don't accept that. I will never vote Tory again, and I hope they all lose. I hope we get 0 seats. #0 seats. And I hope they get seriously. And they've got exactly what they wanted. Will Rishi Sunak be out of a job? Well, he'll probably keep his seat. I mean, as a former prime minister, they may consider it's just too embarrassing. If for example, he lost his seat, it'll be a bit too embarrassing. So what they'll do is they'll parachute him in somewhere else to a safe seat and have a by-election. So he'll stay as an MP, but he probably won't be he probably won't be of any importance. Do you think Andrew Bridgen and Kelly Badenoch, I think you mean Kemi Badenoch, will defect and join Reform? Andrew Bridgen, I don't know. Andrew Bridgen was in Lawrence Fox's Reclaim Party for a while, and he quit, and he's back as an independent. Probably not. Kemi Badenoch has been speaking out against Reform, which is disappointing because I quite like her. She takes a good line on a lot of things, but she's been slagging off Reform to no end, which is a shame. I'd expect better from her. Sunak will be in Cali by Saturday. Oh, Sunak is married to an Indian billionairess, isn't he? I think Sunak is in on this Channel 4 scam. He's in on this hoax because He did his like he was interviewed like outdoors with a casual clothing on, saying, "I can't believe this horrible man said these horrible things about me," and looking really upset. So I think he's in on it. Either that, or he knows it's a scam but doesn't care. Yeah, Kemi is a Kemi. I'm very, very disappointed in Kemi. Very disappointed in her indeed. I thought she had more sense, but she doesn't. Right, what else we got here? Let's have a look at Let's have a look at these. Right, I'm gonna look at my own constituency, right? Because I backed a winner. I backed a winner in the last election because there was the council elections 2 months ago. I voted for a guy called Alan Yearden of the Independent Oxford Alliance. Now, unfortunately, they're not. They don't have a candidate in this election, so I'll probably not vote at all because we don't. I'll go through the candidates and we'll have a look at them. Because I don't think I'm going to bother. It doesn't seem any point in my constituency. There's no point voting. Let's have a look. Okay, so here they all are. This is my constituency, Oxford East. My polling station is at a place called the Venue, which is a community centre, which is not far from where I live. I mean, Hugo Roon. I mean, I'd say to Hugo Roon, check out how far your polling station is, because you may be able to get there. Maybe one of your carers will help you. They may push you there. I wouldn't rely on a postal vote, mate. I really wouldn't, if you can avoid it. Benjamin Adams, Social Democratic Party, bloody SDP. Yeah, I dated an SDP member once. I dated this woman who was she was an SDP member. I don't know what she's doing now. I haven't seen her for ages, but I went on a couple of dates with her. We didn't really get on, but went on 2 dates with her. Amir Steve Arley. Now he's an independent. Right, independent candidate for Oxford East. I'm known as an Oxford Community Champion. There's a full statement here. No, I'm not going to read their full statements. Louise Brown, Tory. I don't need to click that, do I? Shashila Dal, Green Party. All right, it would take ages to go through all these manifestos. Annalisa Dodds, I'm not going to click that. She's the incumbent. And Annalisa Dodds is the Women's and Equality Minister. Shadow Women's, and she's not shadow for much longer. The Shadow Women's and Equality Minister. Yeah, she's very high up with Starmer and his crowd. Brandon Luke French, Workers' Revolutionary Party. Right, I think these are communists. Let's see. I think I've heard of them. The Workers' Revolutionary Party. View this party. Here we are. I think it's probably has no descriptions. All right, it's probably a. It sounds like a sort of. It sounds like a far left party. Oh my! What? IOA have a cat. I'm sorry, my correction. IOA have a candidate. I'll probably vote for him. David Henwood. Yeah, he was one of the. I think he was one of the councils. He was one of the councillors. By the way, the councillor I voted for, Alan Yearden, he won. He won. Yeah. Here he is, Oxford Independent. These people have got a load of councillors. They've got a load of councillors. These are the people who are against 15-minute cities and things. They're against the 15-minute cities and all the big brother shit. Oxford Independent Alliance. These were the do you remember they were involved in the freedom protest last year? They're probably going to undo policies that are damaging to the city and ourselves, instigate return to real democracy, spend money wisely on actions that meets the local community. They actually did. They did very well in the council elections. They got about 6 councillors, including the one in my ward, who I voted for. Well, I didn't know IOA had a candidate. Funny, if when I last looked at this page, that he wasn't listed. So, yeah. Theo Jupp, Liberal Democrats. Don't need to click that. So, hang on. SDP. Yeah, of course, SDP is one thing, isn't it? I get them mixed up. Sorry. It's actually the Liberal Democrats. Yeah. The woman I went on a couple of dates with was with Liberal Democrats. I must get those mixed up, must I? Because, again, this was a split, wasn't it, between the original SDP. There we are. So that's your SDP. That's your Lib Dem candidate. Catherine Mary Longthorpe, Party of Women. Now, this is where, right, this is the Party of Women is basically, it's Kelly J. Keene's party. That's the part. This is, Posey Parker. Her. Do you remember? You must have seen her. The people who are against the trans culture. Now, I'm a little bit. See, these are what are commonly known as the TERFs. I'm a little bit concerned about this whole situation. There seems to be a bit of a strange coalition of convenience between the TERFs and the sort of like the dissidents, like Sargon of Akkad. I've noticed that she's been friendly with Sargon of Akkad, with Milo Yiannopoulos. Her and Julie Bindel and Jermaine Greer and these other TERFs have all been really chummy with people you think they never previously used to get on with, people they considered enemies. And this is, I actually wrote an article about this a while ago. Where is it? It says it all, really. Rather, I'll just say, I'll just read you this article here. Is Sargon walking into a trap? People think of the left-wing movement as united, but it's actually riddled with hairline cracks that occasionally grow into major fractures. The latest and most obvious of these is the split in feminism between the TERFs and the intersectional lobby. This has become deeply vitriolic, as per usual. It should act as a warning. This is just a taste of what would come if the left ever achieved their objectives. They would turn on each other. The intersectional, see, I don't need to read all this, but it's the intersectional feminists. Christy Winters and Kevin Logan, of course. TERF is an acronym for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminists, and it includes most of the aging second wavers, plus some younger recruits like J.K. Rowling and Graham Linehan. This time, the division has reached the attention of people outside the milieu. At the London Pride event, a gang of women barged to the front of the march with gender essentialist placards. There's an organisation called Get the L Out, implying lesbians are unhappy with their treatment in LGBT culture. Yes, Sargon of Akkad made a light-hearted video about it. This was I won't show much of this, but this was Sargon's video.
Am I allowed to laugh when lesbians and transsexuals start fighting over who's the most woman-friendly movement?
You see, it's worth watching this. This was back in 5 years ago, back in 2018. He made this video here. And he was sort of say he joked, which side am I backing? But now he's come down on the side of the TERFs. Like a lot of people in distant circles, they formed this coalition of convenience with the TERFs. Like Sargon did this interview with Posey Parker. This is his interview with Posey Parker. Oh, it's gone now. All right, but he did an interview with Posey Parker, and like I say, Jermaine Greer, Julie Bindel being chummy with Milo Yiannopoulos and Douglas Murray. You wouldn't think they'd even speak to each other before. Now, I say what Sargon seems to have forgotten is what the F stands for in TERFs. I can't help worrying that he's walking into a trap. This strange new detente between the TERFs and the distant right is nothing more than a coalition of convenience. According to the Radfem conspiracy theories, the trans lobby is merely the patriarchy sending its best agents with the most convincing undercover identity into women's spaces. White men cause all the problems in the world, and therefore a world without us would be paradise. This is a very dangerous idea that unfortunately is not very original. History teaches us that when people who feel demographic hatred gain political power, it ends in atrocity. What the hell is Sargon of Akkad doing supporting these gendercidal maniacs? I fear this pact will end badly. So that party of women, and the people who are in the party of women, they're all over they've been on trigonometry. The Sargon of Akkad, like I said, have been chummy with them. Other people in sort of like the alt-light, as it used to be called. But it's just they're only in a situation where the enemy of their enemy is their friend. Posey Parker is she's treated as kind of goddess by the dissident right. I mean, and of course her own people, the TERFs. That she's treated as some kind of goddess and like some kind of flawless angel. And I mean, she gets heckled terribly wherever she goes. She got attacked at one point. Now, I don't support that. I believe she has a right to free speech, and so do her supporters. I think J.K. Rowling has a right to free speech. I think that Graham Linehan has a right to free speech without being attacked in the way they are. But she's actually, I don't think she doesn't come across as a very likable person. She doesn't come across as someone I would ever ally myself with. I think, yeah, if it would only take a minor shift in the political landscape for Posey Parker to go back to the old feminist line of, hashtag kill all white men. This is literally it's a temporary flash in the pan. It really is. It's literally nothing more than a holiday romance between these two factions. Definitely. DJ Beacher says Connor should have got fired instead of Callum leaving. But I like them both actually. Connor, what's wrong with Connor? Is he all right? Tasha, the police said as long as they weren't doing anything sexual like masturbating was okay. Well, I mean, when it comes to pride events, Taj, I don't. Most of them are quite tasteful. I mean, when I say tasteful, they're not sort of like obscene. I mean, it's usually just people dressed in. It's nothing more than a kind of Mardi Gras type thing. I mean, I wouldn't take a child along to watch, but in terms of adult entertainment, it's nothing more than a drag act, basically. But sometimes they go beyond that, and I don't think that's right on a public street. So where are we? Yeah, I think with naked people in the street is wrong. It's not. It's especially with children. Yeah. Posey Parker brought up her two sons gender neutral now. Oh, blimey. I mean, I think this is, as I said, this is going to end badly. Sargon of Akkad I thought he had more sense than this. I really did. Solo84 says, I love you, Ben. Remember back in the days with Kev Baker. Respect you, love, peace and harmony for all. Thank you, Solo. Yes, I will never forget Kev Baker. I'll never. Gone but not forgotten. Will you take Russell to Pride, Ben? Russell, what did you say? He just told me it's illegal on his planet. All right, so let's go back to the candidates. So this is basically the party of women is Posey Parker's party, right? Zaid Marham, Workers' Party of Britain. Now this is Galloway's party, I think. He's the Workers' Party of Britain. Let's just see. He's got a website. Now, these people will take a lot of votes off Labour. They will. I think when it comes down, I think the Muslims will vote for them. Labour have been very much relying on the Muslim vote, but the whole Israel situation has changed all that because I think they're going to vote for. A lot of them will vote for Galloway. And this guy Zaid Marham, he sounds like a Muslim. This sounds like a Muslim name. I think Galloway, this is not the first time that Galloway has done this. Do you remember the Respect Party? Galloway has, unfortunately, I don't think he did as much damage to Labour's vote that I would want him to. Not that I support him or anything, but I mean, if he's taking votes off Labour, I'm happy to sort of look the other way and just let him get on with it. But now he may take more this time because of the October the 7th and the response to that and the horrible war that's broken out. This has caused a massive radicalization, as I've explained in my live streams on the subject, which means that Galloway is already an MP. I think he may be joined by others, maybe 2 or 3 others. Whether not this guy, I don't think. I think they will stick to I think they will stick. I think they will stick to Labour in this. In Oxford, I think they will stick to Labour. Although I think he could get a lot of votes from the Muslims in Oxford, definitely. Jabu Nala Hartley, independent. Let's have a look. Jabu Nala Hartley is an independent candidate. She was born and raised in apartheid South Africa. Oh, right. Lived in Oxford since 1984. But yeah, but if she probably, if she ever went back there, I suspect she wouldn't like it as much as she did. If she thought it was bad in those days, I think she'll find it a lot worse now. I think South Africa has gone downhill big time. I don't know how much she has stayed in touch with her home country, but most people from South Africa of both colours will say, I disliked it before, but I hate it now. So she stood before, yeah. Okay, so that's when she was that's in the local elections, right? So I'm not going to go and read through her manifesto, but anyway, let's go back to the. I've closed that. Close the tabs I'm not using. And finally, Andrew Smith, not the MP, not he. There's a guy called Andrew Smith who used to be our MP. He was our MP for about 30 years. That was Blair's education secretary. Rejoin EU. Rejoin EU. Oh, good grief. He's representing the Rejoin EU party. Well, the Rejoin EU party is actually the real Rejoin EU party. It's called Labour, who's standing candidates across the country. The damage caused by Brexit has destroyed 5% of the economy, made the country weaker, less influential. Rejoin. All right, let's get straight, right? Let's get one thing straight. I will. Okay. All this stuff, but Brexit doesn't work. Brexit doesn't work. Brexit has made things worse. Oh, hello, Nocturnal Frequency Radio. How are you doing? Brexit has made things worse. Brexit hasn't worked. You know, Brexit's not working, right? Well, saying this thing about Brexit's not working. Do you know what it's like? If you buy a brand shiny new car from a showroom, right? You take it home with you, then you get a sledgehammer and you smash it into pieces. And then you call the showroom back and said, this car's not working. It's not working. I don't know what's wrong with it, right? That's what the Ramoners and the Rejoiners are saying. That's what they're essentially saying. That's what Brexit is. Brexit is that car, and you are the government. Brexit is not working because it has been sabotaged. If it was left, as I've made this point many times before, Brexit is not the problem. The problem is the people who've made it not work. Diego Rivera, Starmer will get rid of Brexit, Ben. I don't think so. Thing is, I'll come on to this in a minute, Diego Rivera, but you see, rejoin the EU. Pretty soon, there's not going to be anything left to rejoin. Because that's Andrew Smith of the Rejoin Alliance. Fuck that, I'm not voting for... Who's going to vote for that knob? All right, so what's next? What's next? All right. Peter Hitchens. Let's talk about Peter Hitchens. Here we go. Right. Where is Peter Hitchens? He's down here somewhere. Oh, it's it. Let me just see if I can find it. He was here a minute ago. Hang on. Hitchens. He's been appearing in various places. Here we go. Britain. I won't play any of these videos because I'll get a copyright thing. But Britain hasn't realised the level of incoming ideological shift. One of the most radical governments ever. It's frustrating knowing that everyone else is wrong. Everyone's wrong except me, and I'm right. Yeah. It was. He's why you should not vote Reform. All right, I'm not going to... I say I won't play these. You can actually see them yourself. I can summarise his position because I wrote an article about it the other day. Where's the article? Hold your nose and vote Tory. Yeah, it's this article here. But basically, what he's saying is like the Tories... I think the secrets of the Tory success... the secret of the Tory success is that people who support them vote for them, but then people who oppose them sometimes also do. I was listening to Morgoth's review, and he was saying that he was on with Millennial Woes, and he said it's not really, the Tories aren't really a political party; they're more kind of vote-getting machine, which could explain why. I mean, they've been around; they were an old party; they're twice as old as Labour. They've been around for over 200 years, more than twice as old. And they're by far probably the most successful political party in the entire world. And they live in this bubble of luxury, right, which is basically they can fuck up as much as they like, right? But then at the end of this, what do they say? You may hate us, but you still have to vote for us, because if you don't, Labour will get in. And this is what, this is what Peter Hitchens is now saying. Peter Hitchens actually said, don't vote. Voting is not now for what you want, it's for what you hate. Vote against things. And he actually thinks that's a new idea. Peter Hitchens thinks that's a new idea. I mean, I've got Peter Hitchens. I like the guy. I mean, in fact, he's one of the few black pillars I can tolerate. I mean, I hate black pillars, but this guy is like, he's got such an intelligence and charisma about him. I could put up with him. But he's basically saying, if you vote for reform, you're just voting reform is basically, he describes it as being like a vote for Labour. Voting is not a flash in the pan emotional thing. It's something very carefully you have to think about, and you have to vote tactically every time. In this case, he suggests you vote Tory, right? So you vote for a party that to keep Labour out. You support, essentially, with your vote, a party that is about 1% better. That's what you do. Because if you don't, he says, we're going to have the Starmageddon. That's his basic position. Everyone on Twitter, I mean, I do follow the guy on Twitter. It's quite funny because he has so much debates. And unlike most people, he doesn't like just to hurl abuse and block people. He actually does engage people in debates, which is rare. You don't normally get that. You don't normally get that with people on Twitter, but he does. And I've answered him a few times as well. And basically what I've said to him is not a chance. And I'm disappointed in this because he says things like, well, the Labour and Conservative are both equally bad. He says they're like two zombies lying there propping each other up, and now he's got a chance to kick one of the zombies away, and he won't do it. He said, no, we can't do that. I mean, he seems like he's lost his nerve. He doesn't want to do anything too radical. And I think he has some kind of idea that we can. It's completely futile, but he believes in some kind of policy of containment for Labour. I understand why he fears the Starmageddon. I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, when Labour get into power, which they will, they're going to go hell-bent for leather on all the horrible things they've been supporting, because they're going to try and consolidate the uniparty control over this country, and as a way of preventing this like popular uprising. They're going to try, right? They've got 5 years or maybe less. They're going to try. Now, this doesn't mean they're going to get away with it. I mean, some people are like holding their heads in their hands and they're going, oh my God, we're doomed because Labour will definitely have 5 years to do whatever they want and no one can stop them. No. Sometimes things come out of left field. And I mean, I understand this. I mean, I understand what he's saying, because he's saying surely anything is better than the Starmageddon. Can't we just, for once in our lives, hold our nose and vote Tory? Just vote Conservative to prevent that from happening, or at least lessen the severity. The answer for me is no, not a chance. I refuse. I mean, and for several reasons. Firstly, the principle of it. I'm not going to let the Tories live on this fantasy island any longer. I'm not. Their chickens have come home to roost, and I'm getting popcorn in on Thursday, and I'm going to watch them squirm, and I'm going to love every moment of it. I want to see Liz Truss not actually Liz Truss ain't so bad, but one of the other horrible ones, Matt Hancock or someone. I want to see them walk out with their heads bowed and trudge down the street to the job centre like so many other people, millions of other people have had to do. So because I know the prospects of the Starmageddon, it terrifies me as well, because my life and life of millions of other people would become far worse if Labour have their way. But will Labour have their way? Of course, Ben. They're going to have like 5. They're going to have all but like 50 seats in Parliament. Of course, they can have their way. They have a supermajority. But things come out of left field. Ever since 2016, everything else the establishment has tried to get away with has failed. Look at the C word. I mean, the C word was ridiculous because we had like we had the Tories like bringing in all lockdown measures, and then the opposition, the people against them, was saying you're not bringing them in fast enough. But it didn't work. They called a hard stop on it in November 2021. It failed. So we have to. I mean, it's an old phrase, but maybe we just have to have faith. We have to. I mean, Lord of the Rings. I mean, it's worth watching Lord of the Rings movies or reading the books. You get the free audio books online now. It's interesting. I'll show you. Let me show you the meme I posted the other day. I posted. Those of you on Twitter who follow me on Twitter will have seen this. Where is it? I posted this meme. I actually added Hitchens with this. Come on, that's it. Right, I added Hitchens with this, and he hasn't replied because he very often replies to people quite politely sometimes. If you debate with him, you'll get a reply sooner or later. He's very sort of like he interacts a lot with his followers. This is Saruman from Lord of the Rings. Against the forces of the Uniparty, there can be no victory. We must join with them, British voters. Do you remember that scene from Lord of the Rings, where Saruman's going, "We must join with him, Gandalf." In the book, it's explained a bit better because in the book, Saruman and Gandalf actually have this dialogue, which it's not done very well in the movie, actually, because you think, well, why is Saruman saying this? And Saruman explains in more detail about why he wants to join with Sauron. And the reason is he believes he can still do good for Middle-earth by cooperating, or at least pretending to cooperate with Sauron. It just... Like Peter Hitchens, he wants to contain Sauron with kind of like quasi cooperation. And Boromir tries to do this with the ring, doesn't he? He said we can use the ring of power against the Dark Lord. Whereas as Gandalf says, you can't use this ring. You can't use this ring. Whatever you do, the willpower of the Dark Lord will work its way through the ring. And I think that Hitchens wants to use the Tories or use the Tory voters like the ring of power. And I mean, he hasn't replied to me, but he may reply. Anyway, Snarnock says, Boris J, before he left the opposition label, drag us back into the EU. The MSN called him a conspiracy nutter the next day. They've called us all that, haven't they? They've called us conspiracy nuts for saying almost everything we've been saying over the years has come true. They called us conspiracy nutters when we talked about the lockdown passports, didn't they? They even used it and they brought them in. They even used that word. They called us conspiracy nutters for saying that the governments have decisive UFO footage in their possession, which their military have filmed. They called us nutters. Then they went and published some. Yeah. I mean, there's a list as long as you're on about this. So, so basically, Peter Hitchens has been. If you go to just follow him on Twitter, it's such fun because I mean, I don't butt in much because most people just say everyone else is saying exactly what I want to say. They're saying exactly what I want to say. That sometimes you have to take risks in this world. You have to take risks. I mean, I don't want to. I'm not going to fall for Hitchens' very own Project Fear, because. Well, I asked him, what's your plan, Peter? What's your plan? Because all I can see you want us to do is we're just going to be bumping along the bottom of the Uniparty abyss forever at this rate. If now is not the time, when is the time? What's your plan? See what I mean? I'm not going to he just says, well, look, there's nothing we can do. So let's fall back into a safe corner and we'll just lessen the impact of the Starmageddon as much as we can. But it's weak. It's defeatist. I think for the sake of ourselves, our families, our country, and our planet, the time has come to roll the dice. If you believe, I mean, I know not all of you agree with this, but if you believe your vote can be used to do some good of any kind, use it. I'm not going to tell you which party to vote for. I know there's a lot of people who've made up their mind what party to vote for. There's an obvious answer. And some of you are going to say, well, Ben, vote Reform, vote Reform, vote Reform. Well, I can't because they don't have a candidate. I mean, it's odd because where is it? Reform UK has 650 seats. Reform are standing candidates in. Here we go. I think nearly all of them. I think they're all but about 40 of them. Reform are standing candidates in Albury, about 40 seats. And this is, I think, one of them is Oxford East. Maybe, well, it could say they don't have a bloody chance in hell here, and they don't. Here we go. Number of candidates. Here we go. Number of candidates. There's a record, by the way, there's a record number of candidates in this particular election. I think there's going to be a record number of. There may be actually a very high turnout now. I think I have to turn my previous prediction on the head because I previously predicted there'd be a record low turnout. I think there'll be a record high turnout. Here we go. 609. They got 609. That's so they're the four. This means literally all but 41 seats, and one of them is my own. Unfortunately, as you just seen, one of them is Oxford East. They're not going to bother standing one here. There's many reasons for this. Firstly, they don't have a hope in hell because Oxford East is basically cut and posed, as you can imagine. Secondly, there's no party here, and I know what everyone's going to say now, Ben. Well, if you don't like it and if there's no candidate, well, you join the party and you stand yourself. Well, no, I'm not going to do that. Firstly, because I have a lot of criticisms of my own of Reform UK. Maybe I'll go through them if I've got time. Secondly, would they take me? I think I'm maybe slightly too extreme for them. I mean, let's face it, I do have a lot of baggage, don't I? I think I have far too much baggage ever to have a career in conventional politics. I think I'd be standing there talking about bloody UFOs, wouldn't I? I'd want to stand in the hustings and mention UFO disclosure. Hello, Grill 2 Till. How do you do? Welcome. What are we chatting about? Elections. We're talking about the election, Grill 2 Till. Welcome. So yes, I'm actually going to. I wouldn't stand. I don't think I'd join Reform UK because, like I said, I don't think they'd take me. I mean, Hate Not Hope would have a field day with me, wouldn't I? And I mean, Hate Not Hope have been doing that. Leanna Raven. Ben for Disclosure UK. Yeah, I'd have to start up an anti-New World Order party or something like that, which would include UFOs and things like that and paranormal stuff. Definitely. I think I'd have to do that. But I will add, this is as much as I'll say this, and David Splendid Isolation, if he's still here, will probably agree with me on this. If, which is quite likely, let's face it, it's quite likely you have a Reform UK candidate standing in your seat. I would say voting for that candidate is not a bad idea. Despite what David Yorkshire said, I think voting for them is not a bad idea. Alternatively, if you have a Heritage Party candidate, David Curtin's party, if it's a choice between Reform and Heritage, I'd say go Heritage. Definitely, Heritage I prefer. DJ, I will definitely the Disclosure Party. My duck in a river and a UFO flying above it. I'll get on Windows Paint and I'll start designing one, mate. Yes. So yeah, I mean, I would definitely go with David Curtin's party. Lawrence Fox again. He's another one. He's got this thing called Reclaim. Although Foxy said some silly things lately. I mean, I don't think he should have been kicked off. By the way, I'm not talking about GB News. I think I was against him being kicked off GB News because if you remember, he said a silly sort of like rather juvenile locker room statement about somebody on GB News, which was not very professional, I must admit. But GB News they immediately just dropped him because they were scared of complaints from people who hate them. And then it got much worse because Dan Wootton, the presenter, he got dropped as well because he didn't obey the directors. The director was in his earpiece saying, stop him, shut him down. And then Wootton didn't do it. And then the worst thing, though, was Calvin Robinson on his own show the next day stood up for Lawrence, and then they sacked Calvin. So GB News, I mean, this is really disappointing. How alternative is GB News? Oh. See how we're living. I hate reform for their jibby-jabby and Israel policies, but they stand a good chance of toppling the Tories. I think I would say, like, if you feel uncomfortable voting for them because of their policies, then don't vote for them. At the same time, though, I mean, I'm voting for the Independent Oxford Alliance, and they got my vote. I didn't realise they had a candidate. Now I do, so I'm going to vote for them. Neil Oliver should be PM, says Snarnock. In an ideal world, he would be. He would be in an ideal world. There's 51 people watching. That's quite high for me. DJ beat you. David Curtin. David Curtin is a good lad. Yes. I've interviewed him twice on this channel. He's been on this channel twice, hasn't he? On 2 of my videos. Now, on the subject of like the situation, if you look at it internationally, this gives me hope because Morgoth was saying today that we could end. What's going to happen with the Starmageddon will be kind of like we're going to be kind of like North Korea. He says we'll be this amazing obscurantist state from the past, while the rest of the world around us is moving ahead. And I think that's got a lot to do with our electoral system because of our first past the post electoral system. But if you look what's happening on the continent, all the radical nationalist and anti-EU parties, the populists, they're storming ahead. It seems like the critical mass has been reached. Marine Le Pen is set to become Prime Minister of France. Literally within a week, she could be Prime Minister of France, which means she's head of the legislature. Obviously, she's not the president. The president is the guy who's at the top. But he relies on, under their system, he relies on the legislature. He'll be a lame duck president if she takes over. We got Geert Wilders in the Netherlands. I mean, he had to compromise on the EU, sort of the leave EU thing, just for his alliance. But he's only done this for convenience. I mean, he'll be back calling for Dutch independence pretty soon. Dexit, or Nexit as it's known, Nexit for Netherlands. There's the Alternative for Germany party. They've done well, especially among young people. There's the FPO I mentioned in Austria. As I said, if you're a rejoiner, like this Andrew Smith character, like my dad, who's a bloody fool, right? Forget it. I mean, this is what I mean. We're going to be literally like North Korea, as Morgoth said. There'll be nothing left to join. We'll be this little island off the coast of the continent, sort of living in a dream world, while the rest of the continent is in the real world. Yeah. Phuket says Soylent Green. I've done a review of that movie. If you can find it on this channel. Blair owns Starmer. Yeah, Blair is still, of course. Blair's still associated with Labour. He's still secretly controlling it. Thanks for the anon. Yeah, please click the like button if you can. Share this around. So what else have I got to cover this evening? Let's have a look. Done that. Just check a few things off. Done that. I've got to just say, like, 2 questions, right? I'm asking you guys, why is this election suddenly so exciting? Why is it so exciting? And this ties into the question of why are they going so far to stop them? I mean, the establishment has gone to enormous lengths to try and stop Farage and his party, even to the point where they're essentially committing possibly a criminal act of deception. Hello, Lorenzo Sinclair. How do you do, Lorenzo Sinclair? Welcome. You need to be a compulsive gambler to be MP. Do you gamble? Occasionally. You look like Maya Tusi. Occasionally, yes. I even went. If you watch regularly, you'll know that a few months ago I went to Las Vegas, and I had this sort of negative ambition to be the only person who went to Las Vegas and never put on a bet. But I did play a couple of rounds of 5-card turnover. Yeah. But no, I mean, well, I am kind of like, what's the word? I think I'm too honest to be an MP. I mean, if you look at the rate of crime among MPs, half of them have got bloody ankle bracelets on. David Yorkshire says, funny how pro-Z fake right parties are doing well in the current world political climate, isn't it? Well, this is a possible. Well, we've got to ask ourselves the possibility, right? Is this some big confidence trick? Is this whole thing staged? I mean, Morgoth and Millennial Woes were talking about this. Is the whole thing just a massive scam? Is this just designed to deflect, to deflect our fire towards a decoy? This is a possibility, isn't it? I mean, but you've got to ask yourself. On the other hand, the establishment. If that would mean that the establishment's reaction would also have to be part of that scam, either engineered by whoever's behind the scam, or they were actively involved. Yeah. Lorenzo Sinclair, we need change. You'd be a breath of fresh air. I'd be a sponsor for you. We need change. We need change. All politicians say that. We need change. And he said, I'd even pay the £500 for you. Well, thank you. Lorenzo, if ever I run for Parliament, I will be in touch and ask you to be one of my sponsors. I will, definitely. Thanks. Look at just who's been elected in Mexico. What are the chances? Is that they've got a new president or something in Mexico? See how we live in. They know 17 million voted for Brexit and they're shit scared they will rally around Nigel and they've lost a Muslim vote to Galloway. Yeah, I think there's something, this is not all about this election. They have jumped through hoop after hoop after hoop to stop Nigel Farage and reform. They have gone to enormous efforts and they've taken risks and they've done things they've never done before to try and stop a party which they know is going to lose. Why to go to such effort to attack a politician and a party which they know is going to lose? It must be because it must be more than about this. Assuming that David Yorkshire's wrong, and he might be, I don't know, about them. It's obviously there's a deeper, more long-term strategic threat posed by Nigel and reform, and that's what this is really about. Maybe this is the 2016 effect again. Maybe it is. Taj says all elections are a scam, Ben. Most of them are. I mean, I wouldn't say all, but it seems most of them all. Most of them. You see, I wasn't even gonna bother talking about this election until a few weeks ago. Snarnock says, I hope they try to pull off Project Bluebeam. Nobody would believe it and make the elites look like idiots. I hope so too. I mean, I believe they would only pull something as big as that if they prepared the ground beforehand. And some people are claiming that the new kind of like this new UFO presence is a part of that, and it could be. It could be. I'm dealing with possibilities here. This is why I'm entertaining all ideas now. Everything from David Splendid Isolation, who is very, very pro reform and believes it represents a genuine change, to David Yorkshire, who is very cynical about the whole thing. I confess that either of these two Davids could be right, which is why I'm This is why I'm looking at both sides of this. Snarlock, the opening ceremonies of the Olympics might be interesting to watch in August. We've got the Olympics this year. We've got everything this year, haven't we? We've got the World Cup and the Olympics. Oh, blimey. Well, Snarlock, Ian R. Crane, before he passed away, he said that he believed he might have stopped the Project Bluebeam situation at the Olympics in London in 2012. They were going to do one there. DJ B2. Yeah, I agree, DJ. It's having an open and civil discussion. It's quite rare in this day and age, isn't it? And to be fair to Peter Hitchens, at least he doesn't... Hitchens is quite... one thing I like about him is Hitchens. Even how much you disagree with him, like, he will just talk to you. He'll be quite scathing at times and very robust and very sort of like strident, but he won't just go, "You're offensive," and block you. He won't do that. Actually, Nigel will not be about in 4 weeks. Prove he will. Fingers crossed, mate. I mean, he's got like his security team around him, and I wish them all the best. Yeah. Diego Rivera, will the Starmer majority lead to World War III? I think there's a plan. It could be that's the plan. It could be there's a plan for... I mean, the way NATO are poking Putin at the moment, they're poking him like they're pulling his beard and poking him in the chest and like mouthing off in his face. They're desperate for him to try and provoke him into action. Yeah. Yeah. What's this about Angela Rayner? Angela Rayner looks like an alien to me. Schulz, Silito, Starmer, and BPM. She's going to be... I think she's going to be like what's position? Home Secretary or something. This is a politician, right? Whose idea of parliamentary debate is to distract Nigel Johnson by flashing her knickers at him. Yeah. Hello, Rob, Johnny. How do you do? Comments being deleted or not going through? Rob, I don't know why that is. I mean, there's no one. I mean, there's no moderator tonight, and I'm not deleting any. I would only delete stuff to do with. I'd only delete stuff to do with who are trolls and stuff. The new president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum. Right. Is she? Someone asked me what I think of Javier Milei. South America and Central America may be where it's at. Let's have a look. Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo. This is her. This is the new president of Mexico. Right. She's the Mexican politician and scientist and academic. Let's have a look. What does she stand for then? Crime and policing. She addressed security concerns in 4 key axes, addressing root causes such education. Dave, I don't have time to read all this, David, but social issues. Oh dear, implemented gender-neutral uniform policy for students. Oh, blimey. And wear uniforms of their choice regardless of gender. Oh dear. She removed the statue of Christopher Columbus. So she's a statue destroyer. Decolonization. Oh dear, right. Right, I see what you mean. She's sounds... I mean, to be honest, I mean, you see, this is what it's not always 100% clear exactly what's right or wrong with things like this, such as, like, I mean, if I was an Amerindian, how would I feel about it, etc., etc. But the thing about it is, though, the removal of the statues is not about... People say, well, it's about making things fair now. It's not. It's about making the population feel guilty. Basically, white people and white men feel guilty. That's why they do it. It's about making white males feel guilty. And I resent that. So, David Georgia, try early life section. Claudia Sheinbaum, born in 1962 to a Mexican Jewish family in Mexico City. Her paternal Ashkenazi grandparents. Is that relevant? I mean, I don't think that's relevant. I mean, you may disagree, but I don't think that's relevant. I've done an entire video on this. I don't think it's relevant. As for someone mentioned Milei. I like Milei, Javier Milei. What do you think of the new Argentine PM, Javier Milei? He seems to be a kind of like he seems to be a populist. You know, one of the things he said is he dropped the whole stupid bloody Falklands thing. He's dropped that. No, because this is something that politicians in the past couldn't get away with in Argentina, which means Argentina's turned a corner now. The whole Falklands obsession was just an invention of the military junta from in the 70s, Galtieri and that lot. It was designed to basically deflect the ire of the population away from their own conditions. Oh, it's David. It's relevant how the pro-Z lobby is gaining power globally since the Gaza conflict. I don't know if you, David. I don't know if you saw my Israel live stream and my Israel-Iran war live stream. I take a different view than you do on this. I really do. But I hope we can have a good discussion about it anyway, because I like discussing things with people. I do. But Snarnock says the new president of El Salvador is similar to Milei. Who's this? Let's have a look. El Salvador. Yeah, country in Central America. President of El Salvador. Let's have a look. Economy, government, and politics. The president is called Nayib Bukele. Is this chap? All right, let's have a look at him. Because he could be another Milei, couldn't he? Is he like Milei then, this guy? He looks very North London in my view. He looks like one of these North London hipsters. Crying. He promised to bring an end to gang violence. They all promise that, though, don't they? Territorial control plan, alleged gang negotiations, gang crackdown, political right, C word, pandemic, adoption. What? Adoption of Bitcoin? Bukele announced a Bitcoin conference that he would introduce a bill to legislative assembly that make Bitcoin legal tender. Based. I see what you mean. I do see how we are mean. Yeah, I see what you mean, guys. Yes. This is it's when people like that get into positions like that, you've got to ask yourself, well, how much control do the Illuminati really have? Oh, he's done an interview with Tucker Carlson. Oh, come. I mean, you've got to say, well, if the Illuminati have total control, this wouldn't happen. It couldn't happen. It couldn't happen. I mean, there's a lot of this is controversial, obviously. David and DJ thinks that Milei is not actually a real opposition. It's not real opposition at all. And of course, I think anyone eventually will be. I don't think you'll ever get a single person who no one will think is controlled opposition. And unfortunately, it could be you're right. Oh, okay, what's next? Yeah, right, let's just have a look. Let me just have a look at something. I want to just show you something. This is just an example of what I'm talking about. Clacton constituency. Right, there's this is an example. I'm just going to. You could probably guess what this is going to be about, but it's pretty obvious here. Right, this is him. I want to talk about Jovan Owusu, Nepal, and what he's been saying. This just gives you an idea of what we're talking about. Labour not putting up a fight against Farage. Well, right, yes. Labour candidate in tears after being ordered to do what? After being ordered to abandon Clacton campaign. Oh yeah, he's been moved out, hasn't he? Anger grows at the party's treatment of Jovan Osu-Nepal. Well, why did they do that? Told him never come back to the constituency. Why? Jovan Osu-Nepal, Labour Party candidate standing against Nigel Farage. Here he is. Well, he don't seem to be arguing. He seemed to be getting on all right. Tracy Lewis, a lifelong Labour voter who campaigned against him, resigned in fury. Although officially still on the ballot, Osu-Nepal has not been in Clacton since Wednesday. According to Lewis, the attention that Osu-Nepal has attracted from media outlets combined with a growing following on social media has prompted anger and jealousy from Labour Party headquarters. He's been described as the best dressed man in politics. What? He looks like the new Doctor Who. He looks like Scooty Gatwa. That ridiculous sort of he, she, they who's the new Doctor. Now, why has he been moved? Why has he been dropped? Osu-Nepal quoted the media saying he's standing for every black and brown person in the country. Black has got a capital letter for some reason. A statement resonating with many people. Well, maybe not the people. Most people in Clacton are white. That's the thing. And he said something pretty horrible about white people. I'll say in a minute that he actually said a really racist thing. He's not actually saying what he actually said. It's not actually saying what he did. Oh dear! They're not actually talking about what he did. Can you see that? Yeah. Let's just see if they. What's it? Here we go. Farage asked why his Labour opponent likes. Here we go. Why his Labour opponents likes drinking the tears of white people. Right. Nigel Farage hit back at Keir Starmer's jibe that Clacton is a pantomime, demanding he takes action against Labour's candidate for the anti-white comment. Right. Yes, he said, I drink white men's tears on a regular basis. Right. Now, is that offensive? Is that rude? Is that insulting? Is that as bad as, I mean, it's bad to call, I would never call Rishi Sunak a P word. I don't believe that it's right to hurl racial abuse at people. But we're in a situation here right now where an actor who's more than likely, all the evidence points to him simply being hired by Channel 4 or told by Channel 4 or something to do with Channel 4 to basically walk in with a rosette with Reform UK, pretend to be part of the party and just be the most horrible, atrocious pig imaginable in front of cameras and say, I'm with Reform Party and I'm evil, basically. That has basically caused a massive scandal, and hate not hope of demanding that all these candidates be dropped as a result. Yet a real candidate this time, not a fake one, a real one, not an actor, a real candidate, someone that Labour endorsed. They haven't expelled him or anything. They've just moved him out of Clacton. He said he likes to drink the tears of a racial demographic. In other words, he enjoys seeing the suffering of a certain demographic of people. And nothing was done about him at all. I mean, he seems that he's been moved out of his constituency for a completely different reason. So, yeah, I mean, I hope people realise this. I mean, this double standard is extraordinary. Anyway, what's next? Let's have a look at my notes. That's it. Really, I think I can't think of anything else to talk about. I know that we're in a really strange situation now where the political landscape is totally changing. The political landscape is like going head. It seems that everything. It's almost like you feel it's been building up. I mean, I think change often happens like that. You get like a massive amount of potential that builds up. It's almost like an electric charge. and then suddenly it'll just go crack, and you'll get a lightning bolt. That's what'll happen. And it seems like lightning bolt's gone crack. Well, it feels like, I said that at the end of 2016, someone hit pause, and we were like just frozen in time for 8 years, and now suddenly someone's hit play again. That's what it feels like. Johnny Fettler says, I watched some of the current Doctor Who lately with my 16-year-old daughter and found it quite depressing. It's potentially quite good, reasonable acting and scripting, ruined by PR wokeness. I can't bear to watch it, Johnny. I think I've watched the trailer and it looks appalling. It looks appalling. I mean, Shakuti Gatwar is just this... He just ticks all the boxes, doesn't he? And he's quit, actually. He's quit. When this series is finished, that's it. He's gone. They'll replace him with another he, she, they. Maybe he sees the writing on the wall. Maybe he doesn't want to make a fool of himself anymore. I hope so. I hope that's why he's decided to quit. Someone said David Icke is a multi-millionaire. Oh, really? You mean like Desmond Lynam, who he could have become? It's like, you could make if I suddenly started saying things, right, and someone paid me a lot of money for it, you could make an argument that maybe I was grifting. I was saying these things because I got money for it. When a man quits a job as a TV presenter, and you know how much they get paid? He was a national TV sports journalist to put folding chairs out in Devizes Town Hall and then put them back again at the end of the day and leave with like £15 in his pocket. You can't say that. You can't say that man is a grifter. And of course, I've been to Devizes Town Hall, haven't I? Do you remember? I paid a visit to it, didn't it? Oh, David, I think you're channeling your inner backslapper there, David. I have to say, no disrespect to you, but DJ B2, the female Doctor was not good. I never watched any of that series. To be honest, I only watched half of Matt Smith. It started to go downhill there really big time. Hatchie says here, Ben, England is in big doodah, regardless of election and saviours. Yeah, I mean, it could be that we may need to go through some kind of situation it's awful. We may have to drop down into Hades to find our way out. This could be what's that? There's a Chinese word that means creative destruction. We may be in that situation now. But I can almost hear a voice in my head saying, stick with it. Something will come out of left field, but you got to do what's right. Just do what you know is the right thing and don't compromise. Don't fall back like Peter Hitchens has done and said, well, there's no hope, so we've just got to try and make the best of it. We've got to just cope with it. No. I think I'm disappointed, like I said, in Peter Hitchens for that. So, David Yorkshire, right? Seriously, David Icke works for MI5. His job is to make genuine conspiracies seem like Fruit Loop stuff. Are you, David? How do you know that? Are you sure? I mean, honestly, seriously, if you've got evidence for that, let me know. Because I mean, if you could be right, in which case people need to know about it. So, are you sure about that? If you are, please let me know. Johnny Fettler. I thought she had a potential as a character, ruined by shit script writing. No, she didn't have any potential of that as being that character because she's the wrong sex. Doctor Who is male. Doctor Who is a white male Englishman. All right, I know he's an alien from the planet Galloway. I know, but Ben, there's nothing wrong with him regenerating as a woman. He can regenerate as anything he wants. But the character of the story is that. The character of the story is an alien who presents as a white Englishman. Yeah. David says, I've been meaning to make a video but haven't had time. Well, no problem, David. If you make a video about that subject, I'll happily watch it and I'll look at what you have to say. I always do that. So, I suspect, I have heard accusations like this before that haven't come to anything about David. But if you have other evidence, let me know, by all means. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? I'm going to finish. I'll probably finish in a minute, actually, because I think we have... I think I've been through everything. Is there anything else anyone wants to add? We're in a situation now where there has been there's been some kind of upheaval, definitely. Hopefully it's for real. It's not just some big confidence trick. At the moment, I would say there's no signs that it's to think it's anything other than real. Oh, Tor Engen, Ula Damagard was asked to get along since one friend was desperate. Had too few arrived as audience for one unknown named David Icke. What's that about? Rob says I can only see one of David Yorkshire's comments. I don't know why that is, Rob. I don't know why that is, because I mean, no one's blocked. There's no one. You shouldn't, unless you've blocked people, you should be able to see their comments. Taj says, I predict Labour will win with over 60%. Yeah, they will. Taj, they will win for certain. They will probably get over 400 seats, without a doubt. Maybe as many as 500. Maybe over 400 to 500, definitely, yeah. But that doesn't mean... You've got to ask yourself, like, the questions I've asked are relevant. If that's the case, then why doesn't the establishment just sit back and put its feet up and enjoy the show? Hatchie says, Ben, publishing rights on books on money at the time of Wogan, 91, I think. As in Mr. David quoting Credo Mutwa. At that time, it was the Robots Rebelling. A lot more printed since. Yeah, he did that video with Credo as well. Credo Mutwa. DJ, the UK is full of con merchants, not just the general population. Well, there are a lot of... Yeah, you've got to... Obviously, I mean, I don't want to live in a low-trust society, but... You've got to be on your guard, haven't you? See how we're living. There's going to be a lot of uppers and Charlie consumed on Thursday night. I think it'll be more a case of drowning sorrows. See how we're living. The problem with the Tories is their own sorrows. Their own sorrows have learned how to swim. So you can't drown them. See how we're living. Labour will not get a majority. I hope not, but you see, unfortunately, the opinion polls indicates they're going to get between 400 and 500 seats. They're going to have a huge majority, yeah. David, the BBC was taken over by the Ministry of Information during World War II, which was actually to create disinformation. The ministry was part of military intelligence, the MI in MI5. Yeah, that's true. That comes up actually in my Helen Duncan talk, David, if you've ever seen that. All right, guys. Anything else you want to add? Because I think I've covered everything I can think of right now. Feel free to mention other things if you want to. But I can't think of anything else right now. I think on Thursday, I would just say on Thursday, vote for what you believe is right. Don't buy into Peter Hitchens' Project Fear. Vote for what you believe is right. Do remember that there is hope. Something has changed at a fundamental level. It began in 2016. It's carrying on now. We're the good guys, and we're going to win, basically. So, with that being said, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's taken part in this. Oh, Snark, don't forget Reeves. I won't. Looking forward to your interview with Niall. Snark, please do tune in Thursday evening. You know where the chat box is. I sometimes see you in there. But I want to say a big thank you to Hugh Jarsol, Snarnock, DJ B2, Phuket, David Yorkshire, Johnny Rob R. Johnny, who I've not seen before. Looks like a hobbit, really, just there. I don't know why you cannot see these comments, Rob. Sorry. See how we are living. DJ Hatchie, Tajinder Gill, DJ B2, Israel Diego Rivera, Genius 2, the real genius, Tor Engen, Johnny Fettler, Rhiannon is up there somewhere, David's Blended Isolation. And who's else? I may miss some people out. Don't want to do that, but sometimes you do. Corsitus, hello. As you do. Tina Silver is up there somewhere as well. Ladies, gentlemen, thank you very much. See you, David Yorkshire. See you, Hugh Jarso. Snarlock, thank you very much. Click the like button. Thank you. Hugo Rune was up there too. He's probably stoned out his head now. Michael Snow, hello. Pat Riots, cheers. Thank you. A really good night. It's been a good live stream. It's been very popular. I've had up to 60 views. That's been really high for me. I suspect I'll get more actually, but obviously YouTube don't want me to know that, do they? Yeah. See how we are living. Says, will the last person in the country turn out the lights out? Oh, for goodness sake. Honestly, oh, ye of little faith. Come on, be more. I think we've got reason to be more white-pilled than that, you know. I think you do. Thank you very much. Caroline McGreal. See you, Caroline. Night, all of you. And thank you very much for taking part in this live stream. Have a good day on Thursday. Enjoy it. Enjoy the Tories. Drink Tory tears. And I'll be back soon with another video soon after that. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order.